Okay, breathe with me. In and out.
We're going to the hospital now.
It's okay. I'm calling for help right now. Ugh.
Stay strong. We're almost at the hospital.
Are you okay? It's gonna be okay.
Just breathe. We're almost there.
When a peaceful night shatters into chaos, Linda is suddenly struck by intense labor pains, forcing Quang into a desperate race against time. From the frantic ambulance ride to the tense hospital corridors, every moment pushes them closer to the edge. Inside the delivery room, complications spiral out of control. Linda's blood pressure crashes, the baby is in distress, and doctors fight to save both lives. Will this family survive the longest night of their lives? If you love emotional, dramatic stories, don't forget to subscribe and follow the full journey. Now, let's step into the storm. The night was unusually quiet, the kind of deep silence that only settles when the world is fast asleep. Moonlight spilled faintly through the curtains, casting a soft silver glow across the bedroom where Linda and Quang were resting. After months of anticipation, exhaustion had finally claimed them both. Quang slept with one arm draped lightly over Linda's belly, as if guarding both mother and child, even in his dreams. Linda lay peacefully, her breath slow and steady, until a sudden, sharp pain sliced through her body like lightning. Her eyes flew open. At first, she tried to steady her breathing, thinking it might just be another false contraction. But then the second wave of pain struck, fiercer and deeper, forcing a gasp from her lips. Her hand instinctively clutched the sheets as she curled slightly, her heart pounding. "Quang," she whispered, but her voice trembled too weakly to wake him. The third contraction came almost immediately, ripping a cry from her throat. "Quang! Quang!" Quang bolted upright, startled, his mind still heavy with sleep. But the sight before him snapped him fully awake. Linda hunched forward, face drained of color, sweat already beading along her hairline. Her breathing was fast, ragged, every inhale a struggle against the pain tearing through her. Linda, what's wrong?" he asked, his voice shaking even as he tried to hold her shoulders gently. "It hurts. Quang, I think I'm in labor. It's happening," she managed, her fingers gripping his arm with surprising strength. A jolt of fear slammed into him. This was it, the moment they had waited for, hoped for, feared. His heart hammered in his chest. Okay, breathe, love. I'm here," he said, though his own breath was unsteady. He jumped out of bed, fumbling for his phone with trembling hands. His mind raced. Hospital bag, car, no, emergency, call now. Each second felt like it slipped through his fingers too fast. Linda let out another cry, folding forward as the next contraction hit. Quang froze for half a heartbeat, panic rising, then forced himself to focus and dial the emergency number. "Please," he said the moment the operator answered. "My wife is in labor. She's in a lot of pain. We need an ambulance immediately." He knelt beside Linda, holding her hand tightly as she tried to breathe through the pain. Her eyes glistened with a mixture of fear and determination. "Hang on," he whispered, brushing damp hair from her forehead. "Help is coming. I won't let anything happen to you or our baby." But deep inside, his chest tightened with dread. The night that had started in calm silence was transforming too quickly into a storm they were not ready for. The wail of the approaching ambulance carved through the night air like a desperate cry for help. Quang had been pacing restlessly by the doorway, glancing back at Linda every second, afraid to let her out of his sight even for a heartbeat. She lay on the couch now, as he had helped her downstairs, her breaths shallow and uneven, each contraction hitting harder than the last. When the flashing red lights finally spilled across the walls, Quang rushed outside, waving frantically for the medics. They burst through the door with practiced urgency. "She's in active labor," Quang said, voice cracking. "The contractions are too strong. Please help her." The medics nodded and gently transferred Linda onto the stretcher. She gripped Quang's hand until the last moment, refusing to release him until they were both inside the ambulance. The doors slammed shut, and instantly the space filled with a whirlwind of motion, monitors beeping, gloves snapping, medics murmuring quick instructions. Linda lay trembling on the stretcher, her fingers finding Quang's hand again, as if it were the only thing grounding her in the overwhelming pain. "Linda, look at me," Quang said, leaning close so she wouldn't have to strain. "You're doing great. Just breathe with me. In and out, slowly." He kept his voice steady, but his eyes shined with fear. Every time her body seized with another contraction, he felt a helpless ache tightening in his chest. The sirens blared as the ambulance sped through the empty streets, slicing through red lights, racing against time. One of the medics checked Linda's vitals and frowned slightly. "Her contractions are very strong and close together. We need to move fast," he said, glancing at Quang. The words were meant to sound clinical, but Quang felt the weight beneath them. He nodded sharply, swallowing hard. "Just get her there, please." Linda whimpered, squeezing his hand with surprising strength. "Quang, I'm scared," she whispered, her voice thin and trembling. His heart clenched. He cupped her face gently with his free hand. "I know, but I'm right here. You're not alone. Our baby is strong, and so are you." She closed her eyes, letting his words settle into her like a fragile promise. Another contraction surged through her, arching her back, forcing her breath into choked gasps. Quang could only hold on, helpless but determined, whispering every comforting word he could think of as the ambulance hurtled forward. Within minutes, the hospital came into view. Bright lights, open doors, a group of nurses rushing toward them. As Linda was wheeled out, Quang followed closely behind, his heart pounding with a mixture of terror and hope. The moment she disappeared behind the swinging doors of the delivery room, he was forced to let go of her hand. The sudden emptiness hit him like a blow, leaving him alone in the corridor, praying silently, desperately, for both of them to make it through the night. The delivery room was a storm of frantic voices and flashing lights. Linda lay in the center of it all, her body trembling violently as another wave of pain crashed over her. Sweat dripped down her temples, soaking her hair as she fought for breath. A nurse pressed a cold cloth to her forehead, while another adjusted the monitors that beeped in uneven, unsettling rhythms. "Her blood pressure is dropping. Prepare for intervention," one of the doctors barked, his tone sharp and urgent. Linda barely heard the words. Everything around her felt dizzy and distorted, like she was drifting in and out of consciousness. She clung weakly to the metal rails of the bed, willing her body to keep fighting, forcing herself not to give in to the exhaustion threatening to consume her. Outside the delivery room, Quang stood frozen, his palms pressed against the cold windows of the corridor. The pieces of conversation he overheard from behind the door, blood pressure, fetal distress, emergency, hit him harder than any physical blow. His knees threatened to buckle. He felt utterly powerless, trapped on the other side of the wall while the two people he loved most were caught in a battle for survival. He closed his eyes and pressed his forehead against the wall, whispering, "Please, please let them be okay. Take anything from me, just don't take them." Inside, Linda's breathing grew shallower. "Linda, stay with us," one of the nurses urged, gripping her hand. But Linda's eyelids fluttered as though made of lead. Somewhere deep inside her chest, fear coiled tightly. She thought of Quang waiting outside, his trembling voice, his warm hands, the life they had dreamed of sharing with their baby. She forced herself to inhale, her lungs burning. I have to stay, for them, for us. But the baby still wasn't descending. Another contraction hit, wrenching a cry from her that echoed across the room. The monitor spiked, then dipped dangerously low. "Doctor, we're losing fetal heart rate," a nurse shouted. The decision came immediately. "Prep for emergency C-section, now." The words sliced through the chaos like a final alarm. Nurses rushed to reposition Linda, the lights glaring harsher than before. Metal instruments clattered loudly. Masks were pulled on, sterile drapes were lifted. Linda's vision blurred as a mask descended toward her face. She could barely hear the doctor's voice through the ringing in her ears. "Linda, we're going to help you. Stay with us. Just breathe." Her fingers twitched weakly, reaching for someone, anyone, but Quang wasn't there. She couldn't feel his hand. Outside, at that exact moment, Quang collapsed into a chair, head buried in his hands as a doctor stepped out with urgency written all over his face. "Mr. Quang, your wife is struggling and your baby is in critical distress. We are doing everything we can." Quang's heart stopped. The hallway spun. The night had reached its fiercest point, balanced on a razor's edge between life and loss, and all he could do was pray that the storm would spare the two souls he could not live without.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Tử Nina Review. Vậy là câu chuyện của chúng ta đã kết thúc tại đây. Trong câu chuyện hôm nay của chúng ta thì Linda đã đến ngày đi sinh bé Sophia và Quang và mẹ của Quang đã đưa cô đến bệnh viện để sinh bé Sophia. Liệu rằng bé Sophia có được sinh ra một cách an toàn và bình an hay không? Tất cả sẽ được hé lộ vào các tập tiếp theo, sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Lý Tử Ninja Review. Các bạn hãy bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Thanks for watching and bye bye and see you.